This conference will now be recorded.
Hey guys, so for today's session, we'll create a database called as Hive Operations. Because today I wanted to show you what are the different kinds of operations that we can perform in Hive tables. So I'm going to create a new database for today's session. So create database if not exists, and then your database name. Let's say Hive Operations. So that will be my database name. Show databases. I have this database called as Hive Operations created. So now let us switch to this database. Use space Hive Operations. Then say show tables. I don't have any tables right now. So to start with, let's create a sample table. So let's go to the downloads folder. So I'm in downloads folder right now. I already have this file called as orders.txt. So based on this file, I'm going to create my table. So if you say head space the file name, that will give you top 10 records. I'll just take this sample record for reference, select it, right click copy, open any of the editor. So basically I went to the desktop, right click, create document, empty file. That's how I created this empty file. Double click on it and paste that record that we copied. So we are already aware of these column names, but anyways, I'll make a note here. First column is order ID. Second column is order date. Third column is order customer ID, basically the customer who placed the order. And fourth column is order status. So when you try to create a table, to make it more meaningful, you can add comments to your columns as well as table as well. So that's what we're going to start with. When you create your table, for each and every column, you can add a comment. And for your table entirely, you can add a comment. So what I mean is create table. Table name is orders. And the first column is order ID, which is an integer. Second column is order date, which is timestamp. And third column is order customer ID, which is an integer again. And fourth column is order status, which is a string. And then we have to specify row format, delimited fields, terminated by comma. So why are we using this last line? Because the reason is, if you look at the data, every line, every field or every column is delimited or separated by comma, right? So that's where we have to specify that last line saying row format delimited fields terminated by comma. So this is the minimum, these are the minimum details required to create a table. But along with that, you can add comments to each and every column as well. So here I'm going to use a keyword called as comment. In the single quotes, you can mention more details about this particular column. So what is this order ID column? This is nothing but the unique ID of the placed order. Unique ID of the placed order. Then what about the next one? Date on which the order has been placed. What about the next one? ID of the customer who placed that order. And order status, latest status of the placed order, whether it is pending payment, cash on delivery, cancel, whatever it is, that will be your order status column. So these are all your column level comments. So we can even add table level comments here. So orders table to capture the details of the placed orders. Let's copy this, go to the Hive tab, right click and paste it, enter. If you say show tables, I should have the table created. So you can run describe command to describe this particular table. So how do you describe this table? Describe formatted table name. DS is the shortcut for describe. Enter. Scroll up. Now you can see that you can see the column names, data types, and the comment. And also you can see the table level comment as well here. So that's how you can create a table along with the comments, and you can define column level comments as well as the table level comments. So this is helpful, especially excuse me. So this is important information, especially required. Let's say you're working on that table after 6 months. You don't remember what these columns are, right? So it's a good practice to actually create the table along with the comments. And as usual, we can load the data into this table by using load command. So let's use load command. Load data local in path. So here you can give the path of your data. So it's available under home Cloudera downloads. The file name is orders.txt. Home Cloudera downloads. The file name is orders.txt. And then you have to mention into which table we are trying to load the data into table. What's the table name? Table name is orders. Copy this, go to the Hive terminal, right click and paste it. Right. So you can see that it's loaded the data. To confirm, you can just select star from orders limit 10. Have a look here, we have the data loaded. Now, interestingly, if you observe one more thing, it's showing us number of files as 1. So what is the meaning of this number of files as 1? If you scroll a little more up, you can see that it's showing us location. So let's copy this path. Right click, copy this path, and then you can run something like sdfs space dfs-ls. Right click and paste the path. Enter. So have a look here. We have the data available here, and that too exactly one file. You can also see the size of it, ls with -h option. Have a look here. We have the file size as 2.9 MB. Right. Now also let's do one more thing. Let's figure out the count of the records. Select count of star from orders. So this will try to get me the total count of the records. So you can see that totally there are 68,883 records. And how many files are there in your actual data? Only one file, and the size is 2.9 MB. Now what will happen if I try to rerun the same load command again? Will it fail? Let's find out. So right click and paste it, enter. So it's not failing. Also you should notice one more thing, it's showing us number of files as 2. Now if you go and check in your HDFS location, you should have one more file created. Have a look here, we have one more file and with exactly the same size. Let's get the count now. So initially how many records we had? I'm opening my calculator. So initially we had 68,883 records, right? And we had same number of records added. So plus 68,883. So this is 137766. So that should be the count of the records now. So guys, have a look here. We have the counts matching. So the point which I want to convey here is if you try to run the load command, by default it will run in the append mode. By default it will run in the append mode. So it's going to append the data to the existing data. So we can even do overwrite operation. That is, it's going to completely remove the data and then it will try to recreate it again. So basically it's going to overwrite the contents. So to overwrite it, you just have to use a keyword called as overwrite. But before overwriting, remember the count 137766 is the count of the records, and we have 2 files here, right? And now if I try to overwrite it, it will completely remove this entire structure. It will recreate it again, and you will see the same count, that is 68,883. So that's the expectation. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Copy this, paste it here. I'm just going to add overwrite keyword. That's it, nothing else. Let's copy this, go to the Hive terminal, right click and paste it. Right, so this is done. Now let's go back here, let's run this again. So initially we had, before running this command we had 2, now we are left with only 1 because we have overwritten the contents. To confirm, type date command. So the current time is October 14th 1949. You can see the timestamps are matching. So basically it removed the entire previous directory contents and then it recreated it again. If you look at the count now, the count should be back to normal, that is 68,883. So it's not duplicate records here. So we are basically trying to append the existing data to the same data, right? So that's where you might be thinking it's a duplicate, but it's not. So have a look here, we have the same count. So that's how we can actually overwrite the contents by using overwrite. If you don't specify overwrite, by default it will append the data to the existing data. So we have been loading the data from local Linux systems such as Linux, but we can even load the data into the Hive tables from HDFS also. So Let's do one thing before talking about loading the data from HDFS into Hive tables. Let's talk about truncating the tables. So what is the meaning of truncate? It will just remove your actual data, your table structure can still be seen. So let's go ahead and give it a try. So I'll go back. First, let's see the list of all the tables, show tables. I do have one table and I can say describe orders. I can see the table structure. And now if I can go back here, go back to the other tab. So here my actual data is available under this path. So now I'm going to go ahead and then try to run truncate. Before truncating it, let's see top 5 records. Select star from orders, limit 5. Right now, I wanted to truncate this table, so truncate orders. Sorry, truncate space table space orders. Table has been truncated. Now, if I try to query this table, select star from orders, you don't find anything because whenever you truncate your table, the actual data which was there in HDFS could be deleted. So if I go and check in the same place, I don't see anything because we have done truncate operation. What about the actual table structure? We can see the table structure. If I describe this table, we can still see the table structure. That is, we can see the table name, column names, and column data type, etc. All that can be seen. But your actual data is deleted. It's not there. Now let's see how to load the data into this table from HDFS. I'll go to my download folder. I'm in download folder. I'm going to copy this file into Hadoop or HDFS. HDFS space DFS hyphen put orders.txt. Copy it into user cloud era path. Enter. So let's try to query the location HDFS space DFS hyphen ls. Check the contents under user cloud era path. You should have that file called as orders.txt available now. I can see that file. Now I can start loading the data into the table from this HDFS file. Let's go back here and use this load command. It's almost the same. Only thing that I'm going to change is instead of local, I'll just remove local. If I remove local in my load command, it will automatically look in your HDFS location. Also, you have to change the respective path, user cloud era orders.txt. That's all. Everything else remains same. Copy this, go to the Hive terminal and paste it. Now, if you go and check here, now if you go and check in your actual location, you should have the file here, right? Now you should be able to query the table. Select star from orders, limit 5, right? Now, let me ask you one internal question. So this table by default, it's a managed table, right? If you don't mention anything, by default, it's a managed table. And you can confirm the same by saying describe formatted orders. So if we can have a look here, it's showing us table type as managed table. Table type as managed table. So because it is managed table, we are able to truncate it. Now my question is, can I truncate an external table? Let's find out. So we don't have any external tables right now. Let's create an external table. So let's copy the same query and paste it. So I'll keep everything same. I'm just going to change the name to be external. Let's copy this. Go to the Hive terminal. You can see that it is failing because table with the name orders already exists. So if you remember, when we were trying to create the databases, we have understood that the best way to create the databases is by using if not exists. Similarly, we can also follow the same thing when you try to create your tables as well. That is, create table or create external table if not exists. But for now, I want to keep both the tables to avoid any errors. I wanted to keep my table name as orders_ext. So even if I don't give orders_ext also, it will work. But I wanted to go ahead and create this new table called as orders_ext, which is an external table. Always remember, it's the best way to create a table by using if not exists. Copy this. I should be able to create an external table now. Show tables. I can see the external table here. To confirm, describe formatted orders_ext. And two things to notice here. One is table type is showing as external and external is set to true. Okay, so this is an external table. So let's load the data into this table. So load data local in path, file name is correct. Table name, I'm going to change it as orders_ext. Copy this path, copy this query, go to the Hive terminal, right click and paste it, enter. So now let's query the table, select star from orders_ext, limit 10. So I can query the table. Now coming back to the original question. So can I truncate an external table? So this is an external table, right? So can I truncate an external table? Let's find out. Truncate space orders_ext. Semantic exception, cannot truncate non-managed table orders_ext. So non-managed table and external table both are same. So the point which I want to make here is only the managed tables can be truncated. If it is an external table or managed table, or non-managed table, it cannot be truncated. Okay, I think we are good. Any questions till now, guys? So we have seen how to add the comments to your columns as well as tables. We have seen how to load the data into the tables from HDFS. We have seen the differences between overwrite and append. We have also seen how to truncate your external and managed tables. External tables cannot be truncated. Remember that. Now let me ask you one interview question. What's the default execution engine that is used in Hive? So if you remember the architecture, I told that internally everything could be executed by your execution engine, right? So what's the default execution engine that is used in Hive? So let's say types of execution engines. So remember, by default, MapReduce is the default execution engine. You can even see that here. You can go back, go to the Hive terminal. So you have to first get the property right. So you have to say, I am on my Linux terminal right now, Hive space -e in the double quotes. You can say set and then try to grep for execution. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to run Hive queries on the Linux terminal. And if I say set, it is going to get me all the list of Hive properties. From that, I'm trying to filter the properties which contains execution in it. Have a look here. Hive.execution.engine. This is what I want. Select it, right click, copy, go to the Hive terminal, set space that particular property name. So it's showing us MR. MR stands for MapReduce. So by default, the execution engine in Hive is nothing but MapReduce. So you can also see that here MR is nothing but MapReduce. Also, when you run your any of the aggregate queries such as count, you should be able to see the MapReduce job. So select count star from orders. So this will run a MapReduce job in the background. So guys, have a look here. It ran a MapReduce job by default in the background whenever you try to run any of the aggregate operations such as count, because the default execution engine in Hive is nothing but MapReduce. But unfortunately, this is not preferred in the projects. So we will never use MapReduce as the execution engine in Hive. This is not the preferred one because this is the slowest out of all. What are the other options that you have? You have Spark and you have Tez as well. So let's say how to change the execution engine to be Spark now. Go back here. I will change the execution engine now. Right now it is MapReduce MR. I'll change it to Spark. Have a look here. We have changed the execution engine to be Spark. Now let's run the same query. Select count of star from orders. This should run the execution engine as Spark. So have a close look here. Result is same. You can see 60,883, and you can see here query Hive on Spark job, running Hive on Spark job. So here Spark is being used as the execution engine in Hive. So Spark is this is preferred in the projects because this is the fastest out of all. Why is it so? Because it's something called as in-memory data processing. So what is in-memory data processing? We don't need to worry much about it for now. We'll talk about it when we talk about Spark. For now, this should be enough in the interviews. Also remember, Test is also another execution engine that is available. But if you go by the preference, so first Spark is the preferred choice, then Test, then MapReduce. So this is the preference. This is the order of preference. So you might get questions that is okay. What is the default execution engine in Hive, and why is it preferred in the projects? If not, why? And what are the options that you can have for other execution engines? How many are there? And which one is fastest out of all? Why? And what is order of preference? These are some of the interview questions that you might get around this. Okay, so now let's go back here. Let me talk about dropping the databases. So let's go ahead and figure out show databases to see the list of all the databases. So we have a couple of databases. I'm ignoring the default database for now. So let's switch to the October database. Use October 2022. Show tables. I don't have any tables right now. So let us go ahead and drop the October 2022 database. But before that, we have learned that all the database directories are available under user Hive warehouse, right? Let's go ahead and query this. If you go and check in user Hive warehouse, you have a couple of directories because you have a couple of databases in Hive. So you have October 2022 database and you have Hive Operations database that we have created. So I'm going to drop October 2022 database from Hive now. Drop space database name is October 2022. So the database has been dropped. To confirm, you can say show databases. You don't see October 2022. As soon as the database has been dropped, the corresponding directory in HDFS also gets deleted. You can see that I don't have the respective directory available here. Right? So what about Hive operations? Can I drop it? Let's try. Hive underscore operations. Enter. It's not allowing me. Database Hive underscore operations is not empty. One or more tables exist. So you cannot drop a database if there are multiple tables within that, or if there are even if there is one table within that database, you cannot drop it. So first you have to drop all the individual tables, then only you can drop the database. So let's do that. I'm going to switch to Hive underscore operations now. Show tables. I have two tables. I'm going to drop both. Drop table orders and drop table orders underscore ext. I don't have any tables right now. Now I should be able to drop the database as well. Let's try running drop database Hive operations, and it is successful this time. And I don't have the database called as Hive underscore operations. What about the actual directory that was there in HDFS? Even this is also gone whenever you try to drop Hive underscore operations database. So if your database is empty, if the database doesn't contain any tables, so let me repeat it again. If your database is empty, and if your database is empty, and if it doesn't have any tables, then you can go ahead and drop that database. But if your database is not empty, even if it contains one table, it won't allow you to drop the database. So you have to switch to the database, drop all the tables, only then you can drop the database. But what if I have 75 tables, right? You cannot go ahead and drop each and every table, right? It will take a lot of time. So there is a shortcut which I'm going to show now. But right now, I think I don't have any databases. Let me create a new database. Create database if not exists test. I have the test database created. I'll switch to that. Show tables, nothing, right? Let's go ahead and create two tables, the same tables that I've created already. Copy this, go to the Hive terminal, right click and paste it. Again, create one more table. So totally we should have two tables now. Okay, because we have created this database, we should have the respective directory created in HDFS as well. Yes, I can see test.db under user Hive warehouse. Now let's go ahead and drop this database. So what's the database name? Database name is test. I'm going to say drop space database space test. Will it allow? It won't, because we have a couple of tables within that. The traditional approach is to switch to the database and drop each and every table and then finally drop the database. But if you have a lot of tables, then it is a tedious task. Instead of that, the shortcut is use cascade. So this cascade is similar to recursive delete in Linux. That is, first it will drop all the tables within the database, and then finally it will drop this database as well. Let's try this. Now there are no errors. Let's see the databases. Do we have the database? No, it's not. We don't have that. What about the actual directory here? It's gone. So this is a very, very handy option, especially if you wanted to drop your database and if you have multiple tables within that database, then this is the preferred choice. But you have to be little careful when you do this, because the reason is, if you do this, it will completely remove your database. It will completely destroy your database. So you have to be very careful when you use this option, right? So because please pay more attention, especially when you run this command. Otherwise, you're going to completely remove your database. And never run this command in your production systems. That is highly, highly important to be noted. Okay, so we have seen the different ways of dropping the database, but you have to be little careful when you use cascade command. when you use drop database. So guys, again, based on previous session and based on today's session, I have got 15 interview questions for you. So what I would suggest is go through previous recording, practice everything, go through today's recording, practice everything, then come back to these interview questions and try to answer these questions on your own. I'll be providing answers to these questions in a separate file so that you can cross check. Also, I've got a couple of assignments for you. So whatever data sets that you would require, such as order items to solve this, on categories to solve the second assignment, I'll be providing the data sets in today's folder. You can refer to that and then solve these assignments as well. Okay, utilize the weekend for practice. So we'll again meet on Monday. Okay, so that's all for today. Happy weekend. See you on Monday then. Bye. Aparna, you can ping your email ID to my WhatsApp number. I'll give you the access. Already given my WhatsApp number. Make a note of it and ping me on WhatsApp.